Windy, windy, windy. Spring in central Missouri. It's gonna be windy. That's all you can do about it. That's what? Nothing. It's that time of year when the giants move in. Generally from the middle of March to the middle of April's my window for where I think I'm gonna catch maybe my biggest bass ever. Caught them later than that. I caught them earlier than that. It's actually early this year. It's just like the 4th of March, but it's warm. Just the anticipation of catching a big old bass. Horrible windy today. I mean bad. 35 mile an hour sustained. Kind of protected right here, but I'm not sure if I'm where the fish are at yet, so we're gonna start looking around, but hoping for that potential biggest bass of my life. That would just be so awesome. Bring you guys along with me would make it even cooler yet. So we're gonna play around a little bit and try to survive this wind, do some different techniques. I got some big bass stuff set up, flipping sticks, big spinnerbait stuff. Of course, I've also got my normal jerkbait, crankbait kind of stuff. We're gonna play it out. Stay tuned. Got something. What have I got? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That's a grown-up right there. I can't do nothing in this wind. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'll old school this one. Oh. There's a good one. That's a decent one, ain't it? Sweet. That there would be a keeper. That fat little girl, ain't it? So here I am reshooting this because the first video was dumped by my GoPro. I did on the lake. It was really nice. Hopefully there's not too much wind here. So middle of March, middle of April, things change a bunch in this part of the country. I'm sure a lot of parts of the country. The finesse stuff starts going away. The light line jerkbait stuff starts going away. The braid comes out, and I got a couple of specific things I start doing this time of year. It didn't quite work in this fishing trip the other day. I caught some on spinnerbaits, but it's close. 55-degree water and up, I'm gonna start power fishing some. I always have a few crankbaits and jerkbaits, all that stays on, but I'm talking some high-end power fishing stuff. I used to call it muscle fishing. Fishing with muscle. The first thing that I'm doing this time of year is starting to cover a lot of water with a spinnerbait. Old pistol grip rod, my old 4600C Ambassadors. Lower speed to retrieve, more power. I like them. They're still heavy, hard on the wrist. I tried a low profile reel on this old rod once. It didn't work. It hurt. That rod's from 1997. It's a Falcon. I was sponsored by them back in those days. I still have 2 of them, a pistol grip. I really like that. I'll tell you why, and I show some in the video why too. I'm going to spend a lot of time with that rod in my hand the next few weeks and months looking for fish and for biting and catching fish, because it's also a great way to catch fish. But I'm going to make multitudes of short presentations. Little bitty roll casts a la Jimmy Houston from 1978. Bunches of little bitty casts, 10, 20 foot's a long ways. I may say that somewhere else in the video. 10, 15 foot casts, 3 to 4 casts a minute, real easy. Laying that spinnerbait into cover. This is target fishing. This is up close personal, less than 3 foot deep, covering a lot of water fishing. I don't know if anybody does that anymore. But target specific, tons of precision casts. And I do it mostly left-handed. I do it right-handed too, but left-handed, bait hits water, reels in gear, and to retrieve, and over and over and over. It's a joy when the fish get caught that way, but you can sure find them that way also. This will be a 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce spinnerbait deal. Rarely a 1/2 ounce. It's just once in a while a 1/2 ounce, but it overloads this rod. It's 5.5 footer. I don't know. I saw where Lewis makes a 6.5 footer in pistol grip. You know, you get too long in that pistol grip, you lose your leverage. My old wrist ain't gonna like that. This way right here, holding that reel like that works for me. It's heavy reel. I mean, it's the way I've done it old school my whole life. I'm never gonna give up on that. Short presentations, tons of them. How many casts I can make a day. If it's working, it's a blast. It's also a good, all I want to do is turn a few heads, get an idea what the fish are doing with this bait. I'm using braid. All these techniques I'm using braid mostly. On that spinnerbait I would never use less than 15, 17 pound line. 20 would be better. I'm throwing it in heavy cover. Abrasion resistance is important. I've got 20 pound or 30 pound braid on that rod. This rod here has 30 pound braid on it, I'm sure. It's a little bigger deal, 7 foot rod. That's a 1/2 ounce spinnerbait with bigger blades. I'm broadcasting this bait more. I'm not throwing to specific targets every cast. Yeah, once in a while. I'm throwing this thing a lot farther, 30, 40 foot cast. A little bit deeper maybe, a little bit offshore, a little bit fancier retrieves possibly. I can throw it up close and personal also, but that 7 foot rod just gets to be a bunch. It's a 7 foot heavy action Dobbins Colt. That's their workhorse, their cheapest rod. Is perfect for this. It matches up to that 4.7 to 1 at Garcia really well. Again, 50 pound braid, 3/8, 1/2 ounce spinnerbaits, 3/4 ounce spinnerbaits, and I'm just moving. But I'm fishing the bait, maybe out a little deeper, maybe jiggling a little bit more. Wow, I've got my spinnerbait retrieved down pat. That's hard to explain to y'all. Boat docks, whatever. It's a different kind of spinnerbait fishing than that little 5.5 foot rod. Big part of this time of year. Actually, it's a big part about 12 months out of the year, truthfully. That rod ought to stay in the boat. Actually, this rod did stay in the boat all winter. How's that? By the middle of March, every year, the flipping sticks get back in the boat. I don't use a flipping stick a bunch in the wintertime. I really have. Not in Missouri. You may where you live. Flipping stick is a get down, get dirty, nasty, we're going to hurt them thing. This is an 8 foot Dobbins Fury. Again, one of their workhorse rods, not real expensive rod, comparatively. Same thing. One of my 4600C Ambassadors, the power handle. This I'm sure has 50 pound braid. 50, I've done 65 is probably overkill. I'm not worried about line spooking fish, y'all. I'm putting this thing, these baits in places the fish don't have much of a chance to react. And my go-to this time of year, no matter what, is going to be the jig and a frog. Old Harry and Charlie, a jig with a 1/2 pound of bacon on it. A jig and frog, a pork frog until the water gets up. And whatever, I catch them in the 80s on a pork frog. I like to go different colors and things, but a mixed up color match, and I'm laying this thing in the thickest stuff, and I'm not just pitching it. It's amazing to me how many people don't flip anymore. Old-fashioned flipping. I flip a bunch. It's just like that short rod with the spinnerbait. When the fish are in that kind of bite and I'm flipping, I'm making multiple presentations over and over because I'm not retrieving the bait. I'll pop a little extra line, lay it in there, drop it down, jiggle it, move it, and when it's good to hit initial fall, pick it up and go to the next spot. I'll do that over and over and over, and all I'll do with the reel is change my length, but I'm not retrieving the bait back. That's flipping. I'm putting it in a specific little bitty spot, working it, picking it up, putting it back in there, another spot. And another thing about this short cast and the flipping type presentation, you become very efficient at working the cover, and you are more likely to make more presentations to the same spot or the same area, which so many times what it takes triggerfish to bite. If you're throwing a spinnerbait 30 foot up through there at a log and you bring it past it, and your next cast can be another log or another bush, where I'm gonna make multiple casts at the same target as I go by. And some days that is magic. That is what it takes. Some days. And this time of year, a lot of times like that. So 1/2 ounce jig on this one with a pork frog. I got the other one, I've got a 3/8 ounce jig, actually with a bigger pork frog, an old #1 Uncle Josh for a slower fall. Have not used it much today. I'm gonna flip all these trees here. I think it's creek, I think it's early. The warmest water I've seen today has been 55 degrees. And that's what we're at right here. I don't really feel like it's gonna work today. And the winds make it really hard. But again, I'm pushing the season. My best fish today have come on crankbait and jerkbait. It's still that time. But the next week or so, this is gonna come on. And this is the way I fish. So if y'all are thinking I'm just showing off these old reels to be an old school bass fisherman, guys, I have 75 of these, 80, maybe more. I got at least 75. A bunch of them need worked on, and parts are getting harder to come by. I've wore them out. Matter of fact, this reel here would be a 90 something. I think it was actually the Walmart version. It has USA Bass on it. I'm gonna show you this. Y'all ready for this? I'll bring out my baby. I call this girl Old Blackie. That's a 4600 CM Master, 1978 model. Oh yeah. I bought that girl in the spring of 81 working in a tackle shop. A guy, they used to take these things and take the brakes out of them and fish below trim and dam because you could throw further with these, and sometimes you could with this big spinning surf reel. At least people thought you could. He didn't like it. He wasn't no good. He kept throwing backlashes. He brought it to me, he still didn't have brakes in it. Had to put the old brakes, got the old felt brakes in it still. That thing right there, y'all, has caught the bass it's caught, the stories I could tell. I drug it out of the lake here once, a few years ago. I dropped it overboard in heavy winds. I had to go back next day. I got it snagged back up. It's been all over the country. It's been the swamps of Louisiana. It's been Arkansas River. It's been Grand Lake, all the lakes in Arkansas, Missouri. How much money I won with this reel. This reel is throwing jerk baits with 12-pound line. It's been on a flipping stick. Right now it's 30-pound braid with a Johnson silver minnow. And it's getting wore out. It's starting to get to where I've worked on it. It's getting to where it's just dimensionally it's not working very well. So I like my old reels. Hard on my wrist, yeah. But probably the biggest thing about these reels is gear ratio. I think most of these are 5.3 to 1. The old one's probably 4.7 to 1. Now they have a bigger spool than some of the newer reels, but they're still way slower than a 7 to 1. You know, like a Lose over there, like that BB1 I have. And I like the power. It's like being in first gear or granny low when you flip a bait in this cover or you throw that spinner bait and in the heavy cover. My frog rods will always be these. I tried it a couple years ago with the modern low profile. No, you do not have the power. I don't have the power. Maybe I'm not as strong as you are. Anyway, that's it, y'all. I'm gonna hopefully throw some clips in here of some fish. I think I'm gonna catch a 6-pound bass before the day's over. Weather's changing, got some pretty heavy clouds here in the distance. Once in a while they come over. I think it's gonna rain maybe. I'm gonna get a couple more hours. That wind's wearing me out. I can't believe it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go try to do this, try to show some more of this kind of fishing, just have some fun. I thought I'd bring that to y'all. Power fishing, whatever you call it. I call it muscle fishing. I'm not telling y'all to go out and buy these. They're, I guess, eBay, and they got kind of pricey. I bought a few a while back. Crazy. They were $60 brand new. The last ones I ever bought in the 90s. And you'll pay more than that for a used one now. Strong, good reels. My kind of fishing. There you go. See if I can get blown away some more. God bless you guys. We'll talk at you later. Winds let up. 20, 25 mile an hour now. Way better. Got a whole bunch of Come on, come on. You're not that big. You ain't that big. You ain't as big as the last one I saw.